All right, guys. Guest lineup tonight. Cam Edwards coming right up in just a second, followed by AWR Hawkins. Might have a little schedule conflict with him. We'll find out shortly. Jared Yanis from Guns and Gadgets at the top of the next hour. He'll also be on the live video stream for us if you're watching the program. That's always a treat. And reporter Neil McCabe from Real America's Voice on a Classic Armed American Radio Roundtable with Ryan Petty, Justin Moon, and Brad Primo. Cam Edwards, bearingarms.com, and Cam and Company. Welcome in, my brother. How you doing today?
I am all right, Mark. How are you, sir?
I'm doing wunderbar. I got to have breakfast with Mom today, and so
yeah,
I'm feeling good about that. Yeah, you sound good on this Opal, man. You're right in the room with me.
Well, I'm about to take my youngest daughter out for ice cream. This is her second Mother's Day without her mom, so she's taking a little bit hard. I talked to my oldest daughter; she distracted herself by going to see the new Michael Jackson biopic today, and I was thinking about it. It's been 16 years since I lost my mom. And boy, I mean, time just goes by so quickly.
It does.
Everybody who still has their mom, spend time with them, because one day you're not gonna be able to. So I hope that everybody had a great Mother's Day.
Yeah, and you know what? You apply. You're applicable to that intro I gave, man. Your mom and dad, and good for you. More power to you. I knew you were going out for ice cream. Good for you. So have a good time with
I appreciate that.
All right, brother. Let's get started. Oh, good heavens. There's a lot going on, and I have everything that you've written all week. I'm not really sure where you want to start here, but let's just catch up and have some fun and do it in front of listeners around the country on hundreds of radio stations, man. What's at the top of your mind this week?
Well, I'll tell you what, right when I sat down, so Thursday I talked with Lee Williams on Bearing Arms Cam and Company. We were talking about what was going with the Tate Adamiak, the diesel therapy, right? Yeah. He was going to be basically shipped around the country, driven around in the back of a van for 50 days before his latest court hearing. I just saw that Lee had updated this story, and the diesel therapy has been canceled.
Yes.
Tate Adamiak is not going to be moved. He said it took a lot of work. Senior ATF officials even helped. But bottom line is he's not going to spend 50 days in the back of a damn van. He'll remain in prison until his July 25th court date. So I got to say, I mean, that's pretty amazing. And the fact that Lee said senior ATF officials helped resolve this in Tate Adamiak's favor, that's another really good sign about Robert Cicada as head of the ATF.
Well, I can only hope, and for those of you around the country who do not have the benefit of getting the Daily Show or are busy during your days and can't hear the Daily Show, we've talked about Tate for a long time, a couple of years now. He's a young man who was on his way to becoming a Navy SEAL and did absolutely nothing wrong, folks, absolutely nothing wrong. He was selling gun parts that he was picking up off of Gunbroker, perfectly legal, when Biden's ATF went after him, excuse me, and boy, did they go after him. And they gave him 20 years in the slammer. They altered what he had to make it appear that it was illegal. And it looks like, I got to hand it to Lee on this one. You get it as a writer, Cam. But the effort that he's put into this is bearing fruit. And I agree with you wholeheartedly with Robert Cicada in office now. And the fact that they cut that diesel therapy out for the next 50 days before his trial, his upcoming rehearing. Good heavens, that means a lot. There may be more coming down the pike. I'm hopeful this kid gets a full pardon.
I am too. The cert petition was filed with the Supreme Court. They're supposed to consider it in conference this Friday. The bad news is that the federal government declined to reply to that cert petition, and so far, no justice has told the DOJ, hey, we want to hear your side of this. And without a justice taking an interest, in that sense, I think it's a real long shot for that cert petition to get granted. So I think a full pardon probably is the best route for Tate right now. And, the fact that there are folks within the government who are aware of his story, I think is helpful. We've seen, Donald Trump issue, frankly, some bizarre pardons as far as I'm concerned. Tate Adamiak really deserves one. This is a guy who, as you say, did nothing wrong. The ATF, went to great lengths to say that these, inert dummy rounds were real, that the RPG that was inert could be fired. Yeah. Basically that, gun parts equate to a workable firearm. And it really was just a railroading of, as you say, a bright young man with a bright future ahead of him. And I can think of no better person deserving of a pardon right now than Tate Adamiak.
A full pardon. I mean, this kid he doesn't need his sentence commuted, which I'm sure he'll take right out of the box. Okay?
Right.
No question about it. But this kid needs a full presidential pardon. What happened to him, as you said, was a complete railroad. And for whatever reason, well, Supreme Court, let's go back there. It's hard to gauge what they're going to do regardless. But you're right. I find it a little disturbing that they didn't want to hear the government side, although it could be that the brief made clear that this was so egregious that they didn't even want to hear from the government.
It could possible. Be. Yeah, that is the. There's a pony in here somewhere. Outlook, I guess, right? And
you never know. I mean, that's what's called wishful thinking, ladies and gentlemen. But something else to understand: the justices are human. We know they're following the show. We know they're reading you. We know they're on they're on Guns and Gadgets. We know they're reading Breitbart. They hold up some of his stories in press conferences. So they're plugged into this. So they're very, very, very well aware of what's happening. Who knows? It will be interesting to see. But this kid's life is on the line, and as a direct result of that, they need to move quickly on this and help this kid out. He has been railroaded from day one. Boy,
he's like 3.5 years into a 20-year sentence right now.
I think he started.
You don't get that time back.
No.
So, yeah, you're right. They really need to move as quickly as possible.
Well, guys, that's what happens. It's why we're, let's say, blessed. We don't have a Biden DOJ. Imagine where they'd be right now if there was a Kamala Harris DOJ, just continuing to do the same flipping thing that they did for the previous 4 years. Let's move over to Maryland real quick because you have a piece up about a gun shop suing after being denied banking services. I find this interesting because I interviewed one of the principals and one of the top executives at a bank who I will be talking about in the future when we bring him back on, Eric. When I see stuff like this, being denied banking services for doing what? Take us to the break with this one.
Yeah, I mean, basically for, doing what gun shops do. This is a Capital One, and United Gun Shop in Maryland basically used one of their services it was their Capital One Pay Business Bills program. And they had been doing this for several months, and all of a sudden, the third party that runs this said, "Well, no, you're in one of those troubled industries. We can't process your bill payments anymore." And this was in March of last year, so this was before Donald Trump's executive order about restoring fairness in banking.
Yeah.
But United Gun Shops went through this for an entire year, and then in March of this year, after that executive order had come down, they were told once again, no, you can't use this program because of the products that you sell. And so United Gun Shops is suing Capital One and this party called Milio for denying them access to this program that, other businesses get to use, no issues.
Yeah, and guys, the cavalry is coming in that respect too. You'll hear me talk about it over the course of the next 8 to 10 weeks. Pay very careful attention.